what can we give them that you own? So they use our beach, they use our property, they use our taxes as bargaining chips and say, okay, we'll give you this if you'll come here. And what they should have done, I'm talking about the Hard Rock that moved to Deltona Beach. They took an ugly motel and made a beautiful motel out of it for the most part. Nobody's staying there much, but it's because they made a lot of enemies in the community. What they should have done to not have so much adversity with the people of Deltona who just lost part of their beach is say, hey, right across the street is the Ocean Center. We will give you the naming rights to the Ocean Center, just like the Amway Center, the Aflac Stadium, and almost every stadium in America now is some kind of a business thing. And they make money on it. The stadium makes money. In this case, the Ocean Center, who needs money, would have made some money. The Hard Rock would have made some money, and the locals would have loved them instead of hating them, and they would be doing better business now. And they could have filled it up with concerts every night. But they don't think like business people. They think like tax collectors, and they bargain with your money. You have water problems in Deltona. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Sewer problem.
I was in the wrong city. I drank some of your tap water. You feel like, will I be all right?
Not to.
The county council was given have you ever heard of Mosquito Lagoon?
Yeah.
Mosquito Lagoon used to be a favorite place of mine to fish as a young man, and it's polluted now. And county council was presented a plan by a private company that said we're gonna fix Mosquito Lagoon. We're gonna set up a system of baffles. Tide comes in, it won't all run out, and it'll flush. But it was a great plan, and it was paid for. It was paid for by federal money and state money that was already available. They presented it to the county council, and guess what they said?
No.
I think we'll just continue to look at it. And apparently they're still looking because Mosquito Lagoon is still polluted. They'll go for your tax money, but when a good program is set before them that's already paid for, they turn it down. Now, I'm skeptical, but I think there's a reason for that. Are you ready for me to be done? They probably are.
We've been trained very well.
That's all right.
I would have been next to you.
One more example. You need more business in Deltona.
Yes.
You need a business corridor for light manufacturing and good, clean business to come that doesn't add congestions to your road. We need to find a place where that can happen, a good industrial park. You need more business to take your taxes off the hook, to reduce residential taxes. If you'll help me to get elected, and you'll help that table over there and that man standing up get elected, I guarantee you we can work together.
Yes.
We respect each other, we like each other, and the government has to work together. Well, a private firm came to the county council. It was called Creative Entertainment. They came to the county council and they said, we want to start a film industry in Volusia County. And they didn't have their handout, so we don't want any money from you. What we want is less of that. You have people in the county that everything we want to do, I need a license, a permit, or an inspector to run around with me. They're not making porno films, they're making family films. And they finally got frustrated, but they went to the county and they said, if you work with us, help us. Guess what the county said? We don't really need that because we have our own film department. I asked the person who was a council member at the time, I said, is that true? And he laughed. He said, yeah. We have one lady in an office and her job is to throw up roadblocks for the film industry because they're afraid that somebody's going to do porn movies. This is a well-known company in the entertainment business. So I think we ought to bring that company to Deltona and talk to their new mayor and say, and the city council, and see if they would like to move it here. They're looking for a place that's going to be in Tampa or Orlando. They picked Volusia County first. They like the resources we have. They like the St. Johns River. They're looking through a camera and they see opportunity everywhere here. And we said no. Why? Why would we turn down not just a job, but a whole entertainment industry and all the stuff that comes with it? What did you say? That's what I thought you said. But I didn't want to say it, but I'll say it. It is stupid. It just doesn't make good business sense. And so here's my skepticism. If I come to you with my handout, then I might help you, because if I give you some of, Mr. Businessman, some of all of your money, then you owe me something. And come campaign time, you can go on the Supervisors of Elections webpage and look at all the campaign donors. And guess who's giving them money? The people that came to them with their handout and wanted something. They got something in return. It's not illegal, it's still corrupt, in my opinion. So I just named 3 different organizations that came without their handout and said, we can solve your problem, it's the right thing to do, and yes, there is something in it for us. And in every instance, they said, no, we don't need it. I won't do that to you. If I am elected, I'm not going to sell you out, and I'm not going to give away your property. What I'm going to do is represent you, and so one of the ways, the only way that I know how to do that is to know what you want, know what your fears are, your joys are, your expectations, what your problems are. So we're going to have monthly town hall meetings. Maybe we can have one here. It's not in my district, but it's in my county, and we have to work together.
Yes.
So that you can tell me what you think about me. I need to know that, and I can tell you what's coming up in the council that I need help with. Because you know what? I have no power if I'm up there by myself. I'm one vote and against everybody else. And I'm thinking of a council member who said, "I hope that you get elected because you'll be the first and I'll be the second." And I won't mention her name, Heather. But you have the power. You're the ones that own the power. So if I go before the county council and there's 100 people out there that says, yeah, that he's speaking for us, he's our representative, then there's real power. And I guarantee you that is the only thing that all those people that are sitting up there are thinking about is the next election. I need to get elected my next election. And they will look at how much stuff is happening right now because it's an election season. This is when everything is the 1 month before an election that anything gets done. The rest of the 4.75 years or 3.75 years is we can't do that. So I'm gonna end there. Here's what I would ask you to do. Most of you aren't in my district, right? How many are in District 1 here? You can still help me get elected if you will go, and you don't have to keep this stuff. I just wanted it for the picture. You would go on to my Facebook page, Jeff Brower, Volusia County Council, District 1, or just hit Jeff Brower and it'll take you there. And if you see something you like, just repost it and make it. You know what? Google changed their logarithm. It doesn't help if you like it. It doesn't make it. You got to make a comment. So just say, Jeff, you have beautiful kids. Your wife is great. And
Jeff, you're great.
Thank you. Because that way it gets in more people's walls. And social media is changing the way politics happen. So guys like me can compete against a guy with twice as much money and a lot more name. Now, what's my name?
Jeff.
Who should I use my corny thing so they'll remember it? If you remember Brower, it's the first name on the ballot. You don't even have to go under Brower.
The first name, that's it.
And what he told you about the Republican Voters Guide, they really did me a favor. I don't know if they did it on purpose. What I'm running is Jeff Brower. They put my name on there as Jeffrey Brower, so it's longer and bigger than everybody else.
Can we call you Jeffrey then?
So vote for Brower and take back your power.
I like that. Jeff, thank you for coming here. The fact that you have taken interest in Deltona, you have taken interest in our club, you are willing, you are approachable, and you have really good intentions. I honestly hope you get elected.
You're the biggest city.
So I really hope you get elected. We have one question from the audience. Israel, if you can please ask me the question.
No, my wife is not available. We're happily.
It says the shortage of evac units is a concern. How do you plan to fix this?
The short answer. We need $6 million to properly staff EVAC. It really is a problem. I get alerts every day that says there's not an ambulance here or there. We need $6 million to do. We have $6 million. Actually, we have $555 million in a savings account. We can't use it all, but I've used the Freedom of Information Act to find out about this account, and I've talked to our assistant county manager, whose name I can never pronounce, Dinah. Anyway, and I'm getting information. We can use a lot of that money. We have $6 million to put into that. They're not asking for more money. This is a union, not asking for more money. They want to provide the service that they need. So we just need to staff more EMTs and paramedics, and the money's already in the budget. That's why we don't need a half-cent sales increase. We have money. We don't have a taxing problem. We have a spending problem. We need new spending priorities. So,
Well, thank you so
We'll find
much.
the-
Let's give it Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce someone that I consider a friend, somebody who's been very involved from the beginning, our membership chairman. This is Mr. Jamie Jessup. He's going to be the host of tonight's Deltona Candidates Forum. He has lived in Deltona for 25 years. He grew up in Sanford, Florida, and has lived within this area for almost 53 years old. So how old are you, Jamie?
53.
Woo! We celebrate your life.
Do it after I leave.
Okay. Jamie is the CEO of a local healthcare and advocacy company serving children pre-K through 21 years of age who have special needs. He fights for the rights of kids with disabilities. He is the chairman of OurDeltona.com, Deltona Citizens Coalition, an organization dedicated to stopping the government from forcing our residents from septic to sewer, encouraging citizen participation, and demanding that our government serve the citizens rather than subjecting them to retaliatory and, those are big words, tactics. Recently, he organized a rally for retaliation that brought citizens together to protest our city manager, retaliatory and unlawful conduct against its citizens and employees. Anyone who has served on the city commission knows him because he has been a very effective voice for his citizens in demanding that our city work for the citizens' benefit. Tonight, Jamie will be introducing us to 5 of our Deltona candidates, and at this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Jessup.
I tell you what, ever since I hired that publicity person. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Are y'all ready for Deltona to change?
Yeah!
Are you ready to have a great government?
Yeah!
So I want to tell you something tonight. Tonight is not a debate. We've seen the fight earlier this week, the debate fight.
Yeah.
We've seen the Q&A answer, the debate fight that last night, and it was wild. I'll tell you that. Actually, I didn't actually watch it, but I heard about it. Tonight, though, we're going to take a different tone. And we're going to take a different tone. This is probably going to be the most nonpartisan forum at a Republican club that you've ever seen. And here's why. Because I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or MPA, we want a great city.
That's right. That's right.
And you guys know Democrat friends, right? You got some? Yeah. Do they want a great city?
Yeah.
Yes. And you know some non-party affiliation people, right?
Yeah.
And do they want a great city?
Yeah.
Do y'all guys know any Republicans?
Woo!
Do they want a great city?
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we're going to help this city come together. We have some video going on. By the way, Jane Chang didn't bring it. We brought it ourselves. Okay, so we have this video going on. We're on Facebook, on a number of different places, because we want people to meet these candidates that I'm going to be interviewing tonight and sharing with. Now, I just want to let you know, we don't have every candidate running, okay? And we did that intentionally. Tonight, I'm bringing up as a member my recommendations for who is going to make Deltona a great city.
All right.
So I want to get right to that, okay? So I want to introduce you to the very first one.
First question.
Oh, your zipper's down. I want to get to the very first person. I met him. I met him a couple of years ago. He is a really great guy. His name has more syllables than anybody I've ever met in my life. 9 syllables. So when you go to vote for mayor, you're going to have or this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Santiago Vila Jr.
And the crowd goes wild.
I wasn't supposed to be first, by the way.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh.
So anyways, I want to introduce you to Santiago. I want this to kind of be relaxed because I want people, like I said earlier, this is not going to be a debate. This is not going to be where we're standing with the bullhorn and we're screaming out and we're ready to burn this place down, okay? This is tonight about how are we going to move Deltona forward in a very positive way. And so I'm so glad to be able to recommend to you my friend, Santiago Avila. And Santiago, what I want you to do is I want you to start out by just telling people a little bit about who you are.
Well, I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and we moved to South Florida shortly after that. And I've been happily married for 11 years now. To that lovely lady back there, she can stand up and say hi to us.
The First Lady!
And, after we got married, we decided we wanted to raise a family. And we, out of all the places, we decided Deltona would be that place. Just because where we were at in South Florida, it wasn't really a family-oriented place. Unfortunately, when we got to Deltona, we didn't realize the mess there was. And for the longest, even though I started getting involved in the community, with our church, with separate groups to help residents out there, especially during the hurricane season, my wife and I stood in front of a line going to pay our water bill. And I'll never forget, there was an elderly lady complaining about her water being disconnected just a couple of days before. She expressed that, she didn't have any leaks or anything like that, and I'll make the story very short. In order for her to get her water connected, she had to pay a little bit over $400. Her eyes opened just as wide as all your eyes open. She expressed that, it would be very tough on her that month if she was to connect her water, and she would have a difficult time with food for that month. Well, the reply to her was that she really needed to adjust her lifestyle and possibly even look for a plumber to see where the leak is actually at. She paid it, and I left out of there with a mentality of, oh my God, what are we doing to our residents? So I decided, I prayed about it, I spoke to my wife about it, and I decided to run. And what confirmed everything that I was doing was one day sitting at the city commission meeting, I'd never forget our mayor. He stood there, somebody got a little bit loud and said, "Excuse me, you need to be quiet because you're a guest in this place." And let me tell you guys something.
Wow.
And I want you to understand this. Never let a politician tell you you guys are their guests.
That's right.
Because they are yours.
Okay, so we've heard a lot of negative in the last few weeks that's been going on in our city, and I don't want to just focus on the negative. I want to focus on solving some of these negatives. So let's start out with one of the negatives that you've seen in the news. It's been about retaliating against citizens and treating our employees with disdain in our city government doing that. What do you have planned to resolve that problem, if anything?
So, Jane Shane has to go. We all know that. So I'm not going to bring that up. But it's not only about getting rid of Jane, all right? And it's not nothing against her personally. We need to have things in place to make sure our residents and our employees are protected. There's a lot of department heads I spoke to that are no longer employed with us, and a lot of employees that are scared to come up and say something out of fear of retaliation. So honestly, Jamie, I believe that we need some type of review board where employees, for example, can come up when they have an issue and report one of the department heads or give some type of opinion about the city manager. Also, these would be the same people that would review any fires that, for people that feel like they were fired wrongly. So they have a way to submit their grievances, which there isn't any right now. And definitely we need to make sure that whoever's up there as a city manager is holding some type of meeting at least once a week with residents, so residents can go and redress their grievances with the city manager as well, not only with the people on the dais, and they can interact. Be somebody that's very people-oriented, so people have that feeling that they can approach the city manager without fear of retaliation.
So I have seen your sign. Let me get one here. I've seen your sign, and on your sign it says no to
Or sewer.
You guys are like really dead tonight, aren't you? It says no to
For sewer.
Thank you. Good gracious. Did you put him to sleep? and also on the other side it says no to outrageous water bills. Now, so those are campaign slogans that you decided to focus on. I'm not going to mention her name. Your opponent, okay, has no to for sewer on her side. Are you guys in agreement on that issue? And are you going to approach the issue the same way?
I'm going to have to disagree with you on something. For me, as a non-politician, those are not just slogans. For other people, they can be slogans. The difference between me and my opponents is somebody's been up there for 8 years. And this issue has been going on since before that. The way you vote matters. And the way that person has voted has demonstrated that she is not no to for sewer. Being the hero of the Volusia League of Cities does not mean you're no to for sewer. When you add a no to for sewer on your yard signs and on your literature, being a member of the Volusia League of Cities, who, by the way, advocates, even to the legislator, to force residents as yourselves onto sewer, it tells me that that is a slogan for you. Listen, I pay bills just like you guys. I am no to for sewer. When I say I'm no to for sewer, I want to end this. I'm pretty sure every election you guys get sick and tired of hearing the no to for sewer mantra. Let's do a charter amendment. Let's get it on the charter and just let it go to sleep.
That's right.
That way we can really move on to real issues and not always the same thing. And by the way, if somebody tells you that the city's not being forced onto sewer, please drive by the Easter plant. It's $28 million sewer plant that was built.
And the other night we were at the debate, and you were there, and I got to ask a question. I got to ask, I'm not going to mention her name.
He doesn't want to pay the fine.
Said, I'm reminded Archie Bunker. Remember when they did that Peaches? Okay. Anyways, you're too young to know about that. But anyway, so she was talking about this issue, and I asked her very pointedly, if you, for instance, you signed a petition that said that you want the water department to be audited. She did, okay? And I asked her, why don't you just make the motion to have the water department audited? And she didn't answer that question. So here's my question. When you're mayor, will you make a motion to audit the water department?
If I become mayor, I'm not only going to make a motion to audit the water department, I think the whole city needs to be audited and make sure there's no corruption going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another issue. I've heard you talk about Deltona residents first. What does that mean?
That to me is my cornerstone in my campaign. The people, you guys right here in this building, that's what I want to run for. That's who I'm running for, is to make sure that you guys get put first. I'm sick and tired of Deltona being the ugly stepchild that never gets paid attention to. We're the largest city in Volusia County, second largest in Central Florida, only to Orlando. That should mean something. that should mean that if we had real leadership up there, we can stand up and we can actually listen, there's no county services in Deltona. There is nothing here in Deltona because of the lack of leadership. If I become your mayor, I will make sure that Deltona residents will come first. And I'm going to look at the screens and I'm going to tell you right now, Team Volusia, I'm going to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So for people that may not know what Team Volusia is an organization that came from the east side of Volusia County with promises of bringing jobs, right, former Commissioner Denizak? And took money and continues to take money, and every year comes back and tells us that they're doing a good job setting a foundation for bringing jobs. They've been doing it for 8 years. And how many jobs, folks? 0. How many people would keep a salesperson on in their organization more than a week not making sales, much less 8 years? Would you do it?
Nope.
I wouldn't do it either. And it's the biggest ripoff. It's another way that the east side of the county takes money out of Deltona and takes it to the east side. Okay, so let's move on to the last topic for you, and then I'm going to say goodbye to you, okay? we've heard a lot about, man, if we just had a Deltona downtown in Deltona, and I hear you talking about that. Why don't you tell us about what you mean by that and what that looks like?
So to clarify the record, I was the first one, at least during this cycle, who spoke about a downtown Deltona. Even though the building we're sitting in right now, it's really nice, it's beautiful, it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse. You can't build what you think is a community center if you don't really have a community to build it for. And just FYI, this is not a community center, this is an event center, pretty much, because I don't see anything community in here. I want to see a downtown Deltona. I want my residents to see a vision of a downtown Deltona, a place we can congregate together, we can throw block parties, we can have festivities, something where we can come together as a true community. And guys, we can do that. We have the places, we have the developers that are willing to, but Deltona, guys, is really not open for business. I'm sorry to tell you that.
But you will change that.
Well, thank you very much, Santiago Vila. Ladies and gentlemen, Santiago Vila for Mayor of City of Deltona. I got this whole table over here I'm bringing up. There's 2 guys that are running for, is it 2 or? That's 2 of y'all. Santiago's, well, 3 of you. Santiago's running in the primary. That's coming up. By the way, early votes start this Saturday. But then after, on the August 28th is the primary day that you can vote, and you can be participating in that. We're going to move on to 2 more who are actually running for Deltona City Commission, and they're going to be in the primary. Then I want to introduce you to a couple that are not in the primary this time, but I want to introduce you to them. And so I'm going to start with this guy. Hey, come up here, man. You look sharp. I tell you what, doesn't he look good, guys?
Yeah. You almost cut me.
I got to get to your haberdash, man. What district are you running in?
District 4.
District 4, ladies and gentlemen, Kurt Smith. All right, so Kurt, you probably have been hearing this idea that there is some clique running to run the city. So here's the question I have. How many people does it take to fire Jane Shane? 5. And so does it make any sense for us to elect 2 people who don't want to fire Jane Shane and then 3 people who do want to fire Jane Shane? If we want to fire Jane Shane? So do you have a problem with being a part of a group that intends to make Deltona great?
All right, let me start by saying this. I'm proud to be part of this group. However you want, or whatever. We will change Deltona for the better. It's the only thing we can.
Come on.
The 5 of us together will make Deltona strong, prosperous, open for business, and finally, Shane will have to get a resume ready.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your background and why you're running for office.
I've been in Deltona for 7 years. My wife's been here, gosh, I think almost 30 years. I decided to call Deltona home. I'm going to tell you the main reason why I'm running. It's a story that happened to me personally. I'm a member of, there's quite a few Facebook pages out there about Deltona, and one of them that started up was A City on the Move. Was very active in that Facebook page. I had a fence put up after the hurricane, got my permit. Fence went up, called the permitting department and said, hey, fence is done, come and inspect it. Well, my wife and I lock our back gate. We have dogs, don't want them to get out. So I came home, noticed they hadn't signed off on it. I'm like, okay, they're gonna come by sometime tonight or today. About 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, I went to take the trash out and I saw a signature on the permit. Well, they didn't knock on the door to go to the back to just check the fence. So I posted on Facebook. Nice to see them doing their jobs. Well, they came back out because of a quote-unquote complaint on my fence. And when I did a public record request, there was never a complaint done. It was just me posting on Facebook. So be careful what you post on Facebook because it can be considered a complaint. And when I talked to Steve Rowland at the time, he said, well, I wanted to talk to you about that. I take pride in what I do and everything like that. And I told him, listen, my contract with you when it was signed off was done. Don't ever step foot on my property again without my permission because it's my property. And that's why I'm running, because I'm tired of us, when we voice our opinions and when we say something, we're targeted. And I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's fair. And that's the main reason why I'm running.
So being one of those people that sometimes goes up and speaks in front of the city commission, okay? So, no, me, being one of those people. One day I may show up there and not like the fact that you're making widgets and over to the second part of the city. And if I come up there and I tell you what I think, and I'm a little angry, okay? What's more important, my tone or my message to you?
Listen, I work for you. I work for every resident in District 4. If you don't like what I'm doing, then talk to me. It doesn't matter whether it's tone or the message, because when you take office, that's what you're going to get. That is, I don't know how to explain it, but that is your right as a resident to express your grievances with us. And I will always have an open ear. As a matter of fact, when I am elected, I will ask the mayor, if you approach me and ask me a question directly, I will ask the mayor if I can have a few minutes to address that issue or to address that question that you have.
All right.
Are you trying to win? All right, last thing. So here's the deal. 2 things about Deltona that you think that you can do to improve Deltona. What would those be?
Number 1 is just open it up. Open up to the residents. Let the residents be part of the government, to express their grievances. Let's not shut our residents down when they have an issue or a concern. Basically, transparency. That's number 1. Number 2 is, I look around. We're residents, residents of over 90,000 people. 90,000, just think about that. 25,000 of them are children. What do our kids have that they can do around here? I want to find a way that we can incorporate maybe, get more active with the Boys and Girls Club or bring some other youth activities here within the city of Deltona. When I was growing up, I always did stuff. I was in Boy Scouts, I was working, track, whatever it was, and it kept me out of trouble. So I just think if you just give kids an opportunity to do things, we might prevent some of the things that are going on within our city. So basically, making your family first and transparency.
I ran track too. Ladies and gentlemen, Kurt Stiffen. I'm a bodybuilder.
You've done well.
Yes. I went through her the other day and the lady said, would you like some fruit? And I go, This is not built by fruit. The next person running in the primary, he is a longtime friend of mine. I have known him at least a decade. Is that accurate? He and I went to church together, and he still goes to that church. They kicked me out. Actually, I went over with my friend Eric. We went over to a church over in Sanford that we're both serving at. But Lauren King. Lauren is running for Deltona City Commissioner. Come on, Lauren. And he's running in District 1. And I'm so excited about Lauren. You didn't bring your wife tonight? No. Oh, man. I didn't think you guys ever went anywhere without each other.
And we color coordinate too.
Okay, so Lauren, what we want to know is a little bit about why are you running?
Well, it's kind of nuts, I guess. I moved into Deltona 19 years ago, built a house, moved in, and after a couple of years going to a different dentist, I found a dentist that every time I went there, every 6 months, he said, man, you need to run for mayor. You need to run for mayor. You need to run for something. You need to be leading in this city. And I'm like, forget that. I'm working. I don't have time for that. And so I just pushed that off. And you know, you go to work every day. You come home. You're tired. You take a shower. You eat dinner. You watch an hour of TV. You go to bed. You wake up the next day. You do the same thing all over again. Saturday comes. You mow the grass. Sunday you go to church. I got a happy life. It's all good. And so 4 years ago, I retired. And I've got a lot of stuff to do. But I've been asked several times by people who are actually members of the commission that said, you know, you should run. You should run for office. So, I don't know if I should say this or not. So anyway, part of the volunteer program was this past April. We were invited, the American Legion, and a lot of us that worked there serving in the American Legion, to come to the appreciation volunteer luncheon. So I went there. Well, we're sitting at the table, and who comes over but the mayor, and he says, man, you need to run for office. He says, they got some people going to run this time, and man, they're just a little nutso, and we need to get some good people in there running. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, let me think about that. And then a couple of commissioners came over, and they said, yeah, he's right, you should run. I went, you don't really think the way you guys do, right? Anyway,
Do you think like anybody?
that's another story. So anyway, you know, I went home and I said, you know, I'm really thinking about maybe running for city commission. And my wife said, you're kidding, right? Like you're not doing enough already? And I said, I really do better when I'm pushing it a little bit. Sitting around just hanging out, waiting for the next thing to come isn't me. Anyway, I decided, I prayed about that for about 2 weeks. And I finally said, you know what, I think I'm going to run. Mama said, oh, no, this is going to be bad. And I said, no, I think it'll be pretty good. But the interesting thing is that in the past 5 months or so, my whole perspective on the city has changed a lot. Because when you just go to work every day, and you come home, and eat dinner and go to bed, and you think everything is fine and wonderful, you're missing it. Because there's things going on in the city that really need to be looked at. They really need to be fixed. They need to be changed. And I'm not saying I can fix it by myself. I'm not saying that at all. But we have to have leadership that are leaders who are servants. Mm-hmm. And if you're not if you can't be a good leader if you're not a servant. And so I think I bring that to the table. I've served in the military. I served when I was at Florida Military School as a kid growing up. I've served in the Christian Motorcyclist Association. I certainly served in the military with underwater demolition SEAL teams, and I've been serving since I got out. I've been a part of the American Legion I'm actually a lifetime member of the American Legion, and I'm not about let's go to the Legion because I can get a cheap drink there. I go to the Legion because that is a place of service. If you read the history of the American Legion, it wasn't set up to be a bar where old guys go tell war stories. It was set up to be a mission to orphans and widows from World War I. And so I brought that to our local Legion, that we are servants, and we're in the community doing what we can do to help others. And spent 30 years with the Christian Motorcyclists Association doing the same thing as a servant there. So I think I bring that to the table, and that's why I've decided to run, because we need leadership who have a heart for the people, that can bring wisdom and common sense to the table, and do what's right in a world that doesn't seem to be going so right. And so that's what I'm bringing, and that's why
So here's a question I have of you. These guys that are sitting on here, we introduced Santiago and the other guys that are running for city commission.
speak for them.
Do you like them?
Oh yeah, I like them. They're nice guys.
Okay.
I
So
like them all.
what would happen if you don't agree with them? What would you do?
Well, I'm not going to give my smart answer off the top of my head. Listen, we know we can't all agree on everything, but we need to sit down and we need to discuss and figure out what the best way to solve a problem is. We need to set the priorities. We need to set what's going on, and then after we've listened, obviously, to the community. Because one of the things I think we should be doing, and I think it's funny, I went to the other meeting tonight before I came here. And you should see the list that they're starting to make of the things that their grievances with the city. I'm like, everything you put on the list so far is what we know already. But what we need to do is we need to listen to those folks. We need to have some town hall meetings over in the 1st District and down in the 4th District and over here and over there. We need to be having those meetings so that we can come back together and we can hash all that out and do what's best for the majority of the people in the city. That's what we need to do. We can't make everybody happy, but we can certainly make the majority happy, and we'll do it by agreeing on the best way to solve an issue. You don't have a problem until you know you have a solution to it. So solutions are what we're looking for. And this city, I believe, needs a lot of good solutions right about now.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren King, get out there and vote. Yeah, we're done with you. Thank you very much, Lauren. Okay, we got 2 other guys that are not in the primary, but I want, when you don't get a primary, you don't get a lot of attention, right? And so these guys have been really going out. What time do we have, by the way?
8:23.
Okay, I'm running really good on time, aren't I? Oh boy. Tell you what, I want to introduce you to a guy that I met not too long ago. He's a businessman, and he has brought a business to Deltona. Do we want businesses to come to Deltona?
Yes.
Right. He knows firsthand about what it is to start a business in Deltona. Now, I will tell you that I have been here for a long time, and I hear all the time from developers. I saw a well-known real estate guy the other day in our area. I asked him, why can't we get business here? He says, because you're too difficult to deal with. I had another major business owner in this city tell me that it costs 20% more to open a business here than it does outside the city.
Wow.
Can we continue to do that, folks?
No.
But we have a group there now that tell us that when you and I get angry and we speak out that we're keeping businesses from coming to Deltona. Can you believe that? I own a business, okay? I'm just going to tell you that. I own a business. I signed the front side of a paycheck. And when I opened my business over in unincorporated Orange City, I never once considered whether or not the people were upset with the county. Not once. I didn't care what the county manager and the commissioner from the council person from that side of the county didn't like each other. That wasn't a consideration. I said, I wonder if I can provide a service to people here that they would want to pay for. That's how you open up a business. Do we have needs here in Deltona?
Yes.
Do we have needs for chiropractors in Deltona? So why, when we had a chiropractor come here and want to build, and by the way, remodel buildings, remodel the land to make it look better, why did our city give him a hard time? Do you want him to be given a hard time?
No.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, Lester Carrero. Hey, did I flip that R right? I did, didn't I? Okay, Lester. So, first I want you to do, and here's what happens. When you get 53 years old, you can't remember numbers and what number everybody's running in. I just know I'm barely remembering your name. So do me a favor and tell us what district you're running in and why.
Well, I'm running for District 3, Deltona, and the main reason why I'm running for commissioner is because I don't want the people that are coming behind me to experience the very same thing that I had to go through trying to open up and establish a business in Deltona. I recently had, I don't know if there was a developer speaking with you that actually lives in Deltona. He came to my practice just this week, and I think he was speaking with someone that, you know, he was saying, why is it so difficult to open up a business here in Deltona? And he said, well, you ought to talk to Dr. Carrero and go speak with him, and I think he'll be able to, you know, freely tell you what's going on. And just a small sip of the example of what I had to go through. They would not give me a business tax receipt simply because my grass wasn't green. Not kidding. So they would not give me tax receipt or business tax license simply because my grass was not green. I'm a very proud guy. My grass will be green. You know, I don't know how many of you guys have gone through 1948 Saxon on Saxon Boulevard. I turned a house from a house to a clinic. And let me tell you, that place looks beautiful. It was very nice. And I want to keep it that way. But you know, the fact that a little patch of grass wasn't actually green, they would not give that to me. So, you know, things as simple as these actually makes my blood boil. Yeah, one finger, but it makes my blood boil. And let me tell you, you know, it's unfortunate, you know, that on top of that, all the amount of money that they make you pay to be able to establish a business also, they make me pay almost $21,000 for impact fees. Okay? It's horrible, okay? So then you see other businesses that come, like big chain businesses that have a lot of money, makes my blood boil. They don't have to pay.
Wow.
But people like us, we have to pay a lot of money, and that is not fair. You know, and we are regular Americans are trying our best to live up to the American dream. And I think we ought to give everybody the same chance, the same opportunity of being able to succeed. So that's why I'm running for commissioner.
The reason why we're sitting is because of Lester. I was at a Q&A and makes my blood boil. A bunch of people have been doing that. I don't know if you know that. All around. Yes! That's what we need is a little passion in our government, coming out and fighting for this. When you get out and you talk and you say, hey, this is our government. We want you to do what's good for us. And we're not just talking about the people in this room. We're talking about the us that's all over the place. How many people have heard stories about $200 water bills in the city of Deltona? $300, $500. I think I heard one the other day, $700 at the water forum. So let me ask you a question. Are you going to let that continue to happen when you get elected as a city commissioner?
Blood better boil.
That was the question that actually made my blood boil. That was the real question. Because the truth is that, I've been through that. I thank God that He's given me the opportunity to be successful. But let me tell you, in 2010, 2011, that was not my story. I was literally living inside my car, okay? I was living inside my car for 2 weeks because I didn't have money. I was out in the streets, okay? And as soon as I was able to start working, because as a chiropractor, it's not like a medical doctor, you can work for a hospital. You gotta work for yourself. That's it. You gotta start from scratch, like anybody else. And when I started working, and then finally I had my bills being paid automatically, like my water. And then for some reason or other, my account was stolen or something happened with my account. I had to shut it down. I forgot to pay my water bill. And the only way I remembered was when I had someone coming in and shutting my water down. And I was like, oh, wait, stop. And then I go try to pay for it. Try to pay for it? Are you kidding me? The amount of money that I had to pay to be able to just reestablish water again? It's ridiculous. That makes my blood boil. It's ridiculous, And I've been there. And, and it's not like, some people, it's like, well, they don't have to go through that. It's really tough for people that are actually starting. It's really hard. And you bring an additional bill to their home that they were not expecting. It breaks your whole salary, your whole month is messed up. So why do that to us? Because it's me too. Okay, so been there, done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lester Bradder. Thank you very much. He didn't know I was going to make fun of his blood boiling. I'm really excited about him. I tell you, I've had an opportunity to spend time with each one of these guys, and they have different personalities and different things. Yeah, I kind of laugh at the notion that people, it was a couple of years ago. You remember the water rally that I did over at Deltona Lakes Baptist Church? Remember that, Lauren? And the newspaper article before, the people called me a puppet master. They said, you're pulling everybody's strings. Well, we're hearing that in this election too. You know why? Because these guys have some good ideas. Okay? Do you think that I pull these guys' strings?
No.
Hey, am I pulling your string back there? No. What we're doing is we're working together to try to improve Deltona.
That's right.
Do y'all want us to work together? All right. Last but not least, this guy is a veteran of everything. He's a military veteran. He's also a law enforcement veteran, and he is a canine trainer, and his name is Donald Freeman. Donald.
The free man.
And Donald, if you'll tell us why you got in, but before you do that, tell us what is District 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got one right. District 5. And so if you'll tell us, by the way, you're running against Rubber Stamp, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I mean, we're not going to say his name. You know, I had Rubber Stamp come up to me at the Hobnob, and he was kind of mad at me because I say, you know, he doesn't really say anything. He just sits up there and rubber stamps. And he was kind of angry at me, and he came up to me. That's what happens in politics when it's local folks. You run into the people you're talking about. And they come up and they go, hey, I heard what you said about me. And I said, well, dude, get your own voice. You know, it makes me boil when you don't do things on your own. And we saw it when we were down there this last meeting. And Anita Bradford, by the way, Anita will tell you, I have criticized Anita Bradford, okay? And I didn't support her when she ran. Well, I was so proud of Anita Bradford that night. And by the way, Anita Bradford's not a Republican. She's a Democrat. She found her own voice. And all we needed was one more of them to find their own voice, and Rubber Stamp wasn't one of them. Okay, so I'll probably see him, by the way. I'm probably going to be in trouble again. But Rubber Stamp is who you're running against, and so tell us, why are you running, and what, in your District 5, right?
Yes. Well, can I tell you a little bit more about myself first?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
You got the mic, do what you want.
Oh, tell me that. I'll start talking all night.
No, you won't.
I actually grew up here in Deltona. I graduated Deltona High School in 1993, and I immediately joined the U.S. Navy. Upon completion of hospital corps school and boot camp, I was assigned to the Marine Corps and did the rest of my time with the Marines. You'll figure, join the Navy, and I spent the time with the Marines. So it was the best time of my life, and I loved it. In '98, I got out and went into the police academy and got hired to a police department in this local area. And I worked there for a couple of years, and then went over to another police department across the bridge there to make a little bit more money. And became a canine officer, was a canine officer there for about 9 years, and decided to go back overseas to serve the State Department, and worked, I was a private military contractor, and worked explosive canine over at the U.S. Embassy. I both did executive protection on dignitaries over there, and worked with the 56th Special Forces Unit with the Iraqi Army. So I did all that stuff and came back here in December. And now I'm, you know, working a bomb dog over at the ports and over at Universal and other places in the Central Florida area.
You're not allowed to tell us, are you?
No, I can't tell you that. Okay.
You have to kill him.
So the reason why I decided to run, a couple of people was like trying to go run 6 months ago, and I was like, no, find someone better. And I started following the politics in Deltona at that point. I was overseas in Iraq, and I started following the websites, started watching local news over there when I can get information, and I wasn't liking what I saw.
Yep.
And I also had issues with my grandmother, and I had to take some action on that, and I moved her in. The story with my grandmother is she was living in Deltona, and she has a fixed income, all right? And we all have fixed incomes, okay, including me. I live paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck.
Okay, so I understand where she was coming from. And, you know, my relationship with my grandma is a little different, okay? She actually raised me, and I call her my mom, because she was basically my mother since I was 3 weeks old. Okay, so she's my mom. So when she was telling me about all that stuff, I can't let her live paycheck to paycheck like that. I moved her into my house. So when she moved in my house, now she's got more of a free income, you know, free money that she can go do stuff. And she's gonna stay in my house until she passes away or whatever happens. So, you know, you got to show loyalty to your family and also to your community. Because I was raised basically by my grandmother as a single mom, okay? And if it wasn't for male influences in my life, I wouldn't be the man I am today. So therefore, you have to make a good example for your community as well as your other family members. That's basically why I decided to run, because I wasn't liking what was going on in our community. People are living paycheck to paycheck that are far worse on money situations than what I am. And they're nickel and diming all of us to death. Okay, that's got to stop. We got to do something. The only way I know how to do it is become involved. Okay, that's the only way I know. And I wasn't going to let my opponent run unopposed. I jumped in at the last minute. Go Donnie! Okay, and of course he wasn't expecting that, but I jumped in at the very last minute, surprised everybody that knew me, because nobody had any clue. Okay.
You go, bro.
And you got to serve. I'm not running for it to get elected. I'm running to fix a problem, okay, and work for you. Unlike my opponent, okay, I will respond to your emails, and if you said catch me outside, I will tell you what's going on, because it's your right to know. And if you don't like what I'm doing, by all means, it's your job to hold me accountable for my actions.
Hey.
So, you have a sign here tonight?
What's that?
You have a sign here tonight? Let me bring that up here. Let's see, where is it?
The free man.
The red one over here? No. Okay, so that's your sign. So explain this no to high water rates to us.
Well, then, high water rates is all with this forced sewer stuff. We're paying, like you heard earlier, a $28 million new facility that they built. My opinion is to force us on sewer, force everybody. So that is all in connection with the high water rates, which are outrageous. His sign is perfectly accurate. It's outrageous for all these water rates, and they keep on taxing, nickel and diming us year by year, increasing our water rates for the sewer, not the sewer guys, but the water bills. Yeah. It just keeps on going up. They get this extra income. The first meeting I went to when I got back, they get this extra income. They're like, oh, we can buy $15 billion of this meter that you can access online and see if you had a water leak. Yeah. From this $7 million tax increase that they just did. If me and you live like that, we're living in a tent. Okay? So why should our government overspend and not be fiscally sound?
That's right.
Okay? We got to do something. And it all starts with the water, but there's other problems.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Freeman, running for office. He's running for Deltona City Commission, District 5. You going to be down at the library this Saturday?
Yes.
You guys going to be down at the library, or at least the guys that are running the primary are going to be down there? You guys available for people to come see you on Saturday?
I have a town hall on Sunday,
A town hall on Sunday, what time?
1 to 2:30.
At the library?
Yes.
At the Deltona Library. So we need to get out there and support our people. This is our team, yes?
Yes.
This is our city, yes? And we need to get our team elected, yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. President Zenaida did it. I've got to tell you something. That was such a nice introduction. She is such a wonderful person. I have known Zenaida for a long time. In some ways, we wish you were running again. But Zenaida has served this city. I have seen Zenaida up on the dais and fight the good fight and take heat for it. Because but I'm not going to call his name. Papa Smurf didn't like what you were doing. And so I just want to thank you personally. I've thanked you before, and everybody give Zenaida a hand tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate Jamie that you moderated this forum. Let me tell you, wow. I thought that I knew a little bit about these guys. I have seen them come over our meetings, but haven't had a chance to actually stand with them or sit with them one-on-one and have conversations, because sometimes you're being pulled in so many different directions. I honestly am in a state of shock, to be honest with you. The heart that I've seen tonight, the passion that I've seen tonight, the fact that we have these, I'm going to say, ordinary folks that are running for office that got angry enough. They've had it. And they have said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm going to sacrifice myself, because this is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Serving is a sacrifice.
That's right.
And just for the betterment of our city, let me tell you, I don't want people to know. People might say, no, there's no corruption. Yes, there is corruption. How do I know? Because I uncovered corruption when I was a city commissioner. How about our previous mayor, former mayor, taking the city credit card and spending it on vodka and fancy restaurants in Lake Mary, while the average school here, all the kids on free and reduced lunch can barely afford a 99-cent burger in one of these fast food companies, restaurants. So they have missed it. They don't understand. It's not that they're bad people per se, it's that they don't get it. They don't get that Deltona is very unique. They don't take the time maybe to even visit our schools and understand what our population looks like, And I don't mean to preach or anything, but I love that passion and I love the heart. I've learned so much from you guys tonight. I'm proud. I'm telling you, I am proud. You know what? They've had enough. I've had enough, and I hope that all of you have had enough.
Yeah.
And I'm going to conclude with that. Mr. Sniffen, by any chance, or any of our board members, do we have any announcements? Yes.
Michael Bowman has entered his name for candidate for our to replace our interim secretary.
Okay, and that's something that we can take action in our next board meeting. I appreciate you coming forward and helping us out. Thank you so much. Give my hand.
We're also in need seeking out a treasurer also. So Xavier had to step down because he's living in Daytona now. So just wanted to
any one of our members that want to talk to either me or one of our board members, Mr. Deering, we appreciate it. You can come forward and give us a hand. So, I'm sorry.
Mr. McKnight.
They're trying to put you on the spot. David, you're not going to be able to escape. So sooner or later, because we are getting angry too. We'll talk. Seeing no further business, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Santiago Avila, second by Kurt. All of you in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
That's what somebody should have done over there at the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.